Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a follow-up from my previous video where I show a payment plan for some stocks that significantly went up in price, and the strategy was to use a long-term call option to purchase the stocks. Well, we saw what happened with the previous video in the case of the stock going up significantly in price. But what happens if the opposite is true? What happens if the stock price drops? And in this video, I want to sort of show you the opposite view of that strategy and how things will work. So in this case, I'm showing you the price of RIVN. This is during the year 2022. Now, for those of you who have followed this stock, the stock has dropped significantly since the time of the IPO. It went up a little bit, but then it just dropped significantly over the years. So in 2022, the shares were trading at about $106 per shares. And then you can just see January, February, and so forth, how the price has dropped, just plummet basically throughout that year. So what would happen if we were to apply, like I said, the same strategy of using a long-term call? What would happen with our strategy? So in this case, at the beginning of the year, 2022, with the stock price trading at $106 per share, we are going to go ahead and buy the 90 strike price call option that expires 1 year from this date. So we are in January 2022, and we're going to be buying the January 2023 call option. Now, this is going to cost us $3,596. The reason why this is a little bit high in price is because the stock is trading at around $106 per shares, and we are buying a call option that is a little bit in the money, not quite with a delta 1 or the delta 0.9. So I wouldn't consider this a leap option, but it is getting there where the call option is a little bit in the money. So we are committing some cash, but not a lot at the beginning. So then what happens is we again make the same commitment of decreasing the strike price as we go throughout the year. In this case, we just to be able to decrease the strike price from 90 to 0, we're going to go on a 7.5 decrease in strike basis. So we're going from the 90 to the 82.5, 75, 77, 77.5, and so on and so forth, all the way up to the lowest strike price that we can get on that stock. And then what we're doing is, again, comes the end of January, we're going to be selling this $90 strike price auction or a strike auction, and we're going to be buying the 82.5. So because of the drop in price of the stock, you can see that the call options are going to move relatively to the stock price as well. So in this case, when we purchase the call option with a 90 strike, we spend $3,596. At the end of the month, the stock went from 106 to $67.28, which brought our call to just $1,000, $1,074. Well, when we sold that option and we bought the next call option with a strike price of 82.5, we're now purchasing that at $1,263. And so we continue doing that. Now, by the way, when we sold these and we bought these, we spent $189. You can see right there that is the difference in price. So you can see that we are bringing from the call strikes down from $90 to 82.5. And that is, if this was in the money, it will be close to a decrease of $750. But we're just paying $189. And why is that so cheap? Well, the reason for that is because this call now is way out of the money. It is the strike price is 82.5, and you can see here that the stock is trading at around 67, and it moved down a little bit to 65 at the end of that February month. And so if we go like this, if we continue doing that, you can see even that in some instances, we just pay as low as $37. That was when we were bringing the strike price from 67.5 to $60. And by then, the stock price dropped to $31. So this this call is again significantly out of the money. But we are not deviating from our strategy. We are staying the course with this strategy. And then eventually you can see that the payments that we do month by month to go down on a strike are getting higher. Why? Well, because we are getting into the at the money and eat the money territory. So here we are purchasing or selling the $30 strike price and purchasing the 22.5, and then the stock there is trading at above our strike price. So we are in the money at that point. And so if we go down with a strike, you can see that we are approaching that $750 mark. So what happens? What is the conclusion of this at the end of the year? Well, if we see our costs, everything that we have spent throughout the year to go from a $90 strike price to a $7.5 strike price, and then exercising that call option, we have spent $7,544 to effectively purchase 100 shares of the stock, RIVN stocks, which all in all brought the cost per share to $75.44. So as you can see, at the beginning of the year, the stock price was trading at $106, and then it went all the way down to around $31 per share. Now, obviously, when we started this strategy, we don't know if the stock price is going to go up or down or stay flat. We will have some assumptions, obviously, but we don't know. So what we did here is that we decreased our risk as the stock price was going down, so that also our cost per share went down as the stock price dropped. So at the end, we end up with a much better deal that if we wouldn't just spend the money that we needed to spend to purchase 100 shares at the beginning of the year. Now, keep in mind here, if our objective was to purchase 100 shares, at the beginning of the year, we would spend $10,600 to do that. But because we did this and the stock price dropped, at the end of the year, we still were able to purchase 100 shares of the stock, but our cost basis was much improved. All right, so that is one scenario, and this is here right away tells you how this strategy sort of adjusts as the stock price goes down. It gives us a much better cost per share at the end of the strategy that if we just spend money at the beginning of positioning this stock in our portfolio. Now, let's compare how this will look like if we would have done a DCF strategy. So I will do here DCF. So that is dollar cost average. And let's see what would have happened if we committed $35.96 at the beginning, and then each month we would spend $750, which is the maximum amount that we're allowing ourselves to spend here month by month. Now, keep in mind here, we spend much less because the stock was dropping. But what if we would have that money already set aside to purchase the stock on a monthly basis? We would set our mind to just I spent $750 no matter what the stock was doing. Well, this is what would happen in that case. We would spend at the end, I will just show you how much we would spend with this strategy. So at the end, we would spend $12,596. Obviously, it's a lot more than just spending $7,544. And then at the end of the year, we would be with this balance of shares. So we would be spending this much for the initial purchase. So we're going to go and see how many shares that is. And then throughout the month, because the share price is dropping, we wouldn't be spending that. Now here is going to be $750 divided the final stock price for the month. So I will adjust that. And then at the end, we would be left out with 302 shares for this amount of money that we had spent. So that is approximately, let's see how much that is per share, $41.70 per share. So much better than this 75.44 per share. At the end of the year, keep in mind that the stock price was trading at about $18. It was a little bit trading near the $30 mark, but then it dropped significantly again. And our cost basis wouldn't be $41 if we had just spent this in a DCF type of a strategy. But this is not, I will say, exactly the same as spending this amount. So what would happen if, in order to be able to compare apples to apples, we combine this strategy and spend the same amount of money? Because I want to show you this. This is just, I think it's incredible how we're able to adjust with the strategy. So let's say this is a DCF plus strategy. So we're combining DCF plus bringing this call action to a really low strike price. So at the beginning, we spend the same amount of money. Now, each month, since we are saying that we're going to be spending $750, we do that minus what we can spend on the call to bring that call down. So that will be that amount of money for that month. And all together, so here it will be also just $750. I will go ahead and delete this and see what the total will be. So altogether, we'll spend with this strategy plus this strategy, we will have to spend this amount of money right here. So then, obviously we're gonna have spent this. Okay, so there it is. So as you can see, we're spending the same amount of money we will spend right here, right? So $12,596 plus is the same as just spending the money on the call auction plus doing a DCF with the rest of the money. We are every month spending the same amount. But in this case, we would end up with 100 shares for this call here. And then this would give us this amount of shares. So we're going to go ahead and see how many shares we would have bought each month with the money we're not using for the call action. So that will be that, and total number of shares will be 138 plus the 100 shares. And so the cost per share would be this amount of money divided the number of shares. So in this case, we would spend $52.76 if we were to just combine the DCF strategy plus the call auction strategy. So there you have it. It's a way to, again, adjust your cost basis as the stock drops. Now, obviously, if the stock, again, recuperate, this is going to look much, much better. But how many of us had ever invested on a stock being very bullish about it? Obviously, that is the whole reason why we entered a position. And then, unfortunately, the stock just is continuing dropping. And we don't know what to do at that point. Sometimes our strategy is just wait, hold, and wait until we can get to break even or maybe make a profit. But in this case, thanks to this strategy, we are able to bring our cost basis down as the stock is changing in price. Now you can see this in comparison to the previous video, how it works. So it works when the stock price goes down, and it works when the stock price goes up again. So in the case of a stock increasing in price, like I showed you in the previous video, we keep our cost basis, we lock in the price, and we enjoy the gains. In this case, if the stock price continually gets down, our cost basis decreases. Look at here, we are going to a $52 per share instead of just paying $100 per share, which is our initial stock price at the moment we initiated the position for this stock in our portfolio. So anyway, there you have it. I wanted to show you the other side of this strategy as well and show you how flexible this strategy is and how you're able to benefit and sort of maneuver your way around around when you are managing investment and making investments constantly in your portfolio. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.